Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. In a landmark 6-3 decision, Canada's Supreme Court has introduced a new tort of intimate partner violence, IPV, enabling victims to pursue civil lawsuits for damages. Radio Canada International reports. The ruling broadens the legal understanding of IPV beyond physical or psychological injury to encompass all abusive conduct involving coercion and control that deprives a partner of their autonomy. This includes tactics like isolation, manipulation, humiliation, surveillance, economic abuse, sexual coercion, and intimidation. The decision stems from the case of Kuldeep Ahluwalia, who suffered extensive abuse during her 16-year marriage. While a lower court initially awarded her $50,000 for family violence, the Ontario Court of Appeal overturned this, arguing existing torts were adequate. However, the Supreme Court, through Justice Nicholas Cassirer, determined that existing laws did not sufficiently address the distinct harm to dignity, autonomy, and equality caused by coercive control in intimate relationships, thus justifying the new tort. Dissenting Justice Mahmoud Jamal argued that adequate alternative remedies already exist. NordVPN, a prominent virtual private network service, has announced that it is evaluating its presence in Canada in response to the federal government's proposed Lawful Access Bill. The company indicates it would consider withdrawing from the Canadian market if the legislation demands a compromise to its established privacy protections. This news from City News Everywhere comes after encrypted messaging service Signal reportedly made similar threats to leave Canada over the bill's potential impact on user privacy. Furthermore, major technology companies like Apple and Meta have previously issued warnings that the proposed legislation could undermine their encryption services. The bill faces strong opposition from civil liberties organizations and legal academics who argue it could lead to significant privacy breaches. In contrast, the Canadian government maintains that the bill is essential for equipping law enforcement agencies with the necessary legal tools to prevent, investigate, and respond to modern crime, all while adhering to the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This S&P DESX composite index, Canada's main stock market, experienced a significant decline of over 400 points in late morning trading on May 15, 2026. The index closed down 466.33 points at 33,801.94. This downturn was largely attributed to substantial losses within the base metal sector. Concurrently, major U.S. stock markets also saw considerable drops. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 415.5 and 647.96. The S&P 500 index decreased by 63.82 points to 7,437.42, and the Nasdaq Composite tumbled 293.46 points to 26,341.76. In currency markets, the Canadian dollar weakened, trading at 72.68 cents US, down from 72.86 cents US the previous day. Commodity prices showed mixed movements. The July crude oil contract rose by $3,000 mint that $dollars in 6,000s per barrel, while the June gold contract dropped $124 6 disquay Cetis Boreae by book 20 minus and an ounce. This report comes from the Canadian Press. Global News reports that sales in Canada's petroleum and coal products subsector reached $9.4 billion in March, marking the highest level since September 2023, according to new data from Statistics Canada. This significant 22.7% increase is primarily attributed to higher prices, stemming from heightened geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. These tensions have disrupted global energy markets and critical shipping routes, particularly through the Strait of Hormuz. Prices for energy and petroleum products specifically saw a substantial rise of 27.4% in March. Regionally, manufacturing sales grew in 8 Canadian provinces during March. Ontario and Alberta recorded the largest increases, with Ontario's manufacturing sales climbing 2.2% to $31.4 billion and Alberta's rising 4.4% to $8.9 billion, driven by strong performance in chemical and petroleum products. The Toronto Police Services Board has formally requested an independent inspection into allegations of anti-Semitism and broader organizational cultural issues within the Toronto Police Service. This action comes after Hank Idsinga, a retired head of the homicide unit, publicly shared his experiences, claiming he witnessed anti-Semitism, anti-Black racism, and a culture where whistleblowers faced negative consequences, including limited promotional opportunities and being labeled as rats. Idsinga even suggested that Jewish and Black residents should reconsider calling Toronto police for assistance. TPS Board Chair Shelley Carroll stated that the board heard the Jewish community's concerns and emphasized the need for an independent, credible examination. The board has asked Ontario's Inspectorate of Policing to conduct an expedited inspection, citing its statutory authority to investigate systemic policing concerns and issue binding directions. Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew affirmed the force's commitment to taking such allegations seriously and pledged full cooperation with the Inspector General. In addition to internal investigations already initiated by the Professional Standards Unit and a review by the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency. This news is reported by CTV News. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.